broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Girls, we run this mother. Yeah. Girls, we run this mother. Yeah.
Girls, yeah! It's ladies' night tonight. If you haven't noticed. Girls. Okay, welcome into our Monday Night Football after show. AfterBuzz TV, your favorite after show network on the face of the planet. I'm your host, Christina Kaplan. I'm joined by my girl.
Hey guys, I am Stef Z.
Yeah, like I said, girls' night.
It is girls' night. I feel like we didn't really make it clear last week that Kevin John is no longer going to be here.
I know. We actually didn't say anything about that. Last week was Kevin John's last show because he got a great opportunity. He's going to be a sports anchor in Little Rock, Arkansas. So we're so happy for him, but we miss him.
Yeah, we totally miss him. I believe he'll call in every now and then to keep you guys, you'll miss his charm, his obnoxiousness. I'm going to miss taking his mic.
Yeah.
I'm going to miss tearing apart the Niners because they're still terrible.
I know. But, they are so bad.
But yeah, so if you guys are wondering out there, Kevin John will no longer be here, but we are going to have some other folks joining us. So we got some good stuff in store from you, some special guests. Yeah. So it'll be fun.
It will be. But tonight was, I wouldn't go so far as say fun. It was an interesting game.
Yeah. I mean, it was interesting. I honestly, and I know everyone out there, you guys watch the game, so it's not like we're telling spoilers. The game's over on both coasts, but I kind of at the end wanted the Chiefs to come back. Like with the 2-point conversions and stuff, I was like, come on, make this a game, because as much as I love Aaron Rodgers and as much as I love Green Bay, it's again one of those teams that they're 3-0 and you're just like, okay, they're gonna win.
Yeah.
And I want to see them challenge. I want to see them panic a little bit. I want to see like something. I want to see the scaredness of I just want to see more emotion out of them rather than we got this. Yeah,
I mean, you saw no scaredness or fear or at all from Aaron Rodgers all night, because I felt like his offensive line did such a good job at protecting him. He really didn't feel too much pressure the entire night. Whereas on the other side of the ball, Alex Smith got sacked 8 times.
I know. I know. Poor guy.
Seriously.
I mean, you look at the career of Alex Smith, and it's like, man, I just want to give that guy a hug.
I know.
Like, he's so good, but it's like he kind of just got the short end of the stick a little bit.
100%, because they even talked about it a little bit. He and Aaron Rodgers came in at the same time. They were in the same draft class. He was drafted first. Aaron Rodgers drafted 24th. And, he had a good first couple of seasons on the 49ers. Then he gets that concussion. In comes Colin Kaepernick. And it was kind of like his job was, like, he lost his job by no fault of his own.
Right. And honestly, if I was the 49ers right now, I would be... I don't know. I'm not sold on Kaepernick. I feel like he's a little bit overrated. So the fact that if they would have stuck it out and gave Alex Smith another, and waited for him or created a situation where when he was feeling better, he could come back, I wonder what the 49ers would look like now. Because they do have a better supporting cast. They do have a stronger offensive line that, Kaepernick seems to have more time to throw the ball.
Yeah.
Or to do something.
The problem with the 49ers is that they aren't letting Kaepernick be Kaepernick, which is the same kind of issue that Washington was having with RG3.
Right.
They're not pocket passers. You know what I mean? They need to move. They need to run. They need to be mobile. They need to be free. But, Kaepernick and RG3 were two trying to get them to work into a system that they weren't comfortable in and that they don't excel in. And I think that's the issue for him there, is if they kind of just let him go, like Aaron Rodgers, they let him go. He makes the right decisions 9 times out of 10.
I wouldn't trust Kaepernick's head game like Aaron Rodgers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the other issue, is that they're two different players mentally as well.
Right.
So it's like you're playing in the wrong system for your strength, and mentally you're not really there.
Right.
It's hard.
And that's why I'm saying the Alex Smith matchup as more of a pocket passer with what the 49ers offense has set up, I feel like would have been a better situation for them in the long run.
Yeah.
But they got excited of this superstar quarterback that was making all kinds of things just happen. And I'm not sure that they went with the right choice there.
Yeah, I like Alex Smith a lot. I think he is a good quarterback, but you're right. I think he just kind of, I don't even know how. I mean, obviously with the lack of protection, you're going to struggle as a quarterback. Right. I get that. That's comes with the territory. So I think that his stat, I mean, well, let's see. He didn't even have that bad of stats. Well, I guess not that great. 24 of 40, right. 290 yards, 1 TD, 1 interception.
Yeah.
But then,
But for the amount of times he got sacked, for the amount of times he had to scramble, for the amount of times he had to run with the ball, that's not too bad with what they're giving him to work with. Is what,
right,
you know what I mean?
Right, exactly. So, I mean, but then it's like, then you look at the other side. Aaron Rodgers was 24 of 35, 330 yards, 5 touchdowns.
Yeah. No
interceptions. Which, by the way, I wrote this down, like, I know it's really unsafe, but as I was driving on the freeway and I heard this great stat, where is it? Aaron Rodgers is 10 touchdowns and 0 interceptions in the first 3 games. That has only been done ever in the history by Peyton Manning. So they're the only 2 quarterbacks in NFL to have ever accomplished that, which is amazing. 10 TDs in 3 weeks is pretty crazy. And he had 5 in tonight's game alone, which is just outrageous.
Yeah, I think this is the 4th game of his career where he's had 5 touchdowns. So that's pretty but it is, and it's like you almost want him to have 6. Like you cheer for him, but in the same sense it doesn't make it as interesting as I want the game to be.
Right. And where is my little, I hate this double-sided paper. I'm trying to find my notes. Okay, so Marcus Peters, who's on the Chiefs, where is it? So week 2 against Denver, he had an interception return for a touchdown, 55 yards, and he's a rookie. And these pregame notes were saying that if he would have had an interception at Packers, it would make him the first rookie since 1978 to intercept a pass in each of his team's first 3 games. So he must have had an interception in the first game as well. So why I bring that up is because in my pregame storylines, one of the bullet points says, will Aaron Rodgers be Marcus Peters' next interception victim? Did you see one throw tonight by Aaron Rodgers that was like, ooh, almost, or anything that wasn't a direct target to where he was going?
I mean, I think there was like one that didn't, it was like, ooh. It was like in the ground, you know, but no, he's just on target. Aaron Rodgers is so on point with his games this season, and he just keeps getting better and better. And it is interesting that stat that you read, the only other person that did it is Peyton Manning, because he is that level. Like, I feel like Aaron Rodgers, like, yes, Tom Brady's a great quarterback. He's playing amazing this season. He has something to prove. He's pissed. I get it. But I still feel like Aaron Rodgers is a solid, like, number 1, number 2 pick of quarterbacks in the NFL right now, and I don't think that people give him that.
Well, at NFL Network, I know it's widely believed, like, everyone thinks he's the best quarterback in the league. Like, there's no question. And, I mean, tonight was a perfect example. And Gruden and Mike Tirico brought up this stat, or told the audience this stat. A-Rod, his release is 0.0. I know, that's right.
I like that Yankees.
I like to call him. But Aaron Rodgers, when he releases the ball, it's 0.035 seconds.
Yeah.
So his speed and accuracy, they said, is tremendous, like much better than it was last season. And if he's getting the ball out of his hand that quickly, the defense, no matter how good that defense is, it's very hard to get on top of him. You know what I mean? To get
It's the same thing with Peyton Manning. I don't know if you saw the game last night, but it's like he had this one pass to the end zone. He knew what the defense was going to do before the defense knew what they were going to do.
Right.
Like, it's just having that concise, getting it out, trusting yourself. That's what makes great quarterbacks. And I do think Aaron Rodgers is number one. Another thing that they were also saying tonight was about how Aaron Rodgers, he's always moving. And they brought up Joe Montana and how he was always moving. It was really interesting. They did like a split screen of both of them and how they always are just moving.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting because not all quarterbacks do that. A lot of quarterbacks get on their heels, plant their feet, sit back, and wait for the opportunity. Aaron Rodgers is just consistently moving. And again, that's what makes him so good. He can see it. He knows he's ready to go. He's like on his toes at any time, ready to go.
Yeah, no, he is. And he's fast and he's very mobile. And that's the issue for a lot of defenses is it's hard to tackle him, to bring him down. And he actually had a couple of good runs on his own. Where is it? His rushing. He had, two attempts for 16 yards. Not bad, but I mean, they came at points where in the game where he didn't have any other options. And instead of throwing it away, he actually went for it, which is, I mean, with his injury history is gutsy, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good word.
Yeah, I was going to say the other word. But anyways, I think the problem with Peyton Manning, though, that I noticed, I was only able to watch the first half of the game last night. His age is really showing in his movement. There were a couple plays where he got out of the pocket and he looked great and he just shot a rocket to someone down the field, most likely Demaryius Thomas. He got so many targets last night, but there was a couple moments where his like stutter step was a little like wobbly, and you can just see kind of
he makes up for it though. He makes up with his smarts, his accuracy. It's like, you know, I don't know. Would you rather have a quarterback that's a little bit not that he's slow, that's dramatic, but like a little bit slower and as smart and as accurate and as consistent and confident as Peyton Manning, or would you rather have someone who's younger and like can move more but doesn't really know what they're doing?
I would
any day of the week I'd pick Peyton Manning.
I would 100% agree with you on that. I'm just saying I noticed.
Yeah.
Whereas
you can see a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Was he 39 now?
He's I think 37.
Oh, okay.
Maybe 30. I don't know. He's getting very close to 40.
Yeah.
Which is amazing that he's still playing at this level.
Yeah.
I mean, because in real life, non-sports world, 37 is not old.
Right.
You know what I mean? But in the sports world, that's crazy old.
Super
Especially
old.
when guys average 3-4 years. That's the average NFL season or life, so
I feel
to
like
speak.
quarterbacks are always a little bit long. Like that, the quarterback average career span has to be a little bit longer than 3-4.
Yeah, especially
except like for Tim Tebow.
Especially, if you're good and you're on a good team, meaning you don't get hit a lot,
right?
You're of course gonna last much longer than guys that are getting hit. I mean,
right.
I should have looked it up before we started. I'd be interested to know. I bet you probably Fantasy Stats Guru knows.
Fantasy Stats Guru always knows.
I'm interested to know which quarterback has been sacked the most so far this season, because I mean 8 sacks in one game is quite a lot for Alex Smith. I don't know how many sacks he's had in the first 2 weeks.
Oh, that is interesting. I don't know that.
You know what I mean, though? Yeah. Like eight is a lot. That's a lot.
It was. I don't know if you in the beginning though. Alex Smith again. I feel like he's a little underrated. I get his situations aren't great, and you know I love the Chiefs. I've been a Chiefs fan as well, and I feel like Alex Smith, again, I don't know if you saw, but he had this sick spin move. It's like you don't see quarterbacks throwing out spin moves, you know, when they're scrambling. And he's going for it, and he's sliding well. There was a time where he slid, and Jones and Thomas of the Packers actually hit each other and hurt each other, and he just, like, slid right underneath it. So he's got the awareness, and he's got it. I feel like he's got accuracy, too. So, I don't know. I feel like the Chiefs are going to do pretty well this year.
I think they have the potential.
Yeah, or they have the potential.
Yeah, and they have a relatively difficult schedule. They play the Bengals next, who are also 3-0. They play the Bears. That should be an easy win for them. And then they're at the Vikings. The Vikings have been on fire. I mean, they crushed the Chargers.
Peterson's back.
And then, I mean, they go to a Steelers team with no Big Ben, and then they play the Lions, and then they have a bye. So, I mean, they have a little bit of a more difficult schedule
Right.
going into that bye week, but they have the weapons. I mean, Jamal Charles had 3 touchdowns tonight. Travis Kelce didn't have as big of a game as he did
Charles,
the first week.
Did you see when Charles did the Lambeau leap?
Yeah.
That was kind of awesome. I was watching at a bar and people were like, why is he doing the Lambeau leap? It was really like he found the 2 Chiefs fans that were right there and did it. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
I really like that.
I love Jamal Charles. I had him on my fantasy team 2 years ago. 2 years ago or last? Yeah, 2 years ago. Because last year I think he was injured for part of the season.
I believe so, yeah.
And he just crushed. Like, it was 2 years ago because last year I know my mom picked him up because I had him 2 years ago.
I love that your mom plays fantasy football with you.
My whole family plays.
That's awesome.
But my mom mainly will have my brother like help her draft, and I was like, we were on vacation, family vacation, when she had her draft, and she's like, Evan, who do I pick? I'm like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. Don't ask your daughter who just works at NFL Network.
Right.
I don't need to help you with your draft at all. It's okay.
It's better for you then. You'll beat her.
No, well, we're not in the same. This was for her work league.
Oh, okay.
But and my brother's one when it comes to fantasy, he tries to go for these crazy like
win big or go home situations.
No, like not underdog, but kind of like these guys that are like, oh, they could have a breakout season or not, like the unknown players. He tries to pick up. I know, but sometimes he's like, oh yeah, this guy's so good, and I'm like, okay, Evan, and then the guy sucks, and I'm like,
yeah, I'm sure he picks one, rose in the bush every time.
Yeah,
like,
no, he was all about Allen Robinson last season.
There you go.
Last season he had an okay season. This year he's crushing it so far. I have him on my team this year. But yeah, it's just funny. So my mom has Travis Kelce, so she's amped on that first week performance by him.
Right.
But yeah, so he did all right tonight. Where were her stats?
Yeah. I it's interesting too because one of the big things that we talked about earlier leading up to this, not to this game, but leading up to the season is this preseason and all this talk that was around preseason with the Packers not going to have Jordy Nelson because he got hurt, and do we have less preseason games? And these guys, there's a lot more injuries this season, I feel like, than the beginning of last season. But again, it's like the Packers don't seem to be, I'm sure they'd be doing even better if he was there and not taking anything away from him, but they don't seem to be missing him. They're connecting, they're finding their plays, and it's just, you can like plug anyone in there. And I feel like because Aaron Rodgers is doing what he's doing, as long as they run the routes and focus on their little part, Aaron Rodgers makes it happen.
Well, yeah, they don't seem to be affected by Jordy Nelson's loss at all.
Yeah.
I mean, you have James Jones.
Right.
Going seven receptions for 139 yards and a touchdown. James Jones, who was like a zero horrible player last season, was of no value whatsoever. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit.
That's a little harsh.
But you know what I mean?
No,
like,
I get what you're saying. He wasn't a standout player.
Right, but that's the other thing too, is it's like Eric Decker is doing well on the Jets, but
Well,
when he was but when he was playing with Peyton Manning, Peyton Manning makes guys better. Aaron Rodgers makes guys better.
I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean? So Aaron Rodgers is making these receivers look like superstars, and they may not be on another team. That just goes to show how great he is. I'm not taking anything away from James Jones. He's having an amazing season.
Right, I know what you mean.
But yeah,
I mean,
even James Starks is having a great season as well, and that doesn't really matter too much as far as the quarterback goes.
Well, it's interesting though, that quarterback receiver relationship, because when you say someone like Eric Decker, yes, Peyton Manning made Eric Decker better, but because Eric Decker was what he was, he even made, even last year, Geno Smith better a little bit, and Brandon Marshall with the Jets makes Fitzpatrick better. So It is, I feel like it either goes one way or the other. And Aaron Rodgers, when you have quarterbacks like that, it's always them helping the receivers.
Right.
So, but it's really, I don't know, Aaron Rodgers is on fire.
Yeah.
I'm really, and their schedule is not, they got the Bears. And then the Seahawks. Oh, wait, no. They got the 49ers, which will
be an easy win.
Yeah, the Rams, the Chargers, and a bye. I don't know.
The Rams will probably be the most difficult game for them in those 3 games.
I could see them going 6-0 into the bye.
Yeah, I mean, I really would not be surprised at all.
Yeah.
Their team looked flawless tonight. Their defense was on fire.
Insane. Yeah.
What I should have wrote it down. I meant to write down their defensive coordinator. They talked about him all night. That he changed up. He changed something up with the defense, and it was clearly effective because they were playing amazing.
They had lots of different like creative blitzes going too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then what was it? Who was it? Shields had the interception.
Yes, Shields had an interception.
Yeah, and he ran it back for. So yeah, Alex Smith threw that interception in double coverage. And he threw it short. I know he was under pressure, but he threw it short and into double coverage. It was almost like an easy get for the Packers.
Yeah.
But Shields ran it back for quite a few.
And not even that, when you saw Shields grab that pass, he like twisted behind him to get it. And the amount of athleticism that you see in him, he literally, his momentum was going one way. He twisted behind him to get it, and then he changed his momentum to run forward, you know, and he almost had a pick six. But that just shows how amped up these guys are, and they're ready to play.
Yeah, 100%. I think that was the most impressive thing for me tonight.
That was
in
good,
the game. I thought that, no, I just mean the Green Bay defense as a whole. I was impressed by their performance tonight because the Chiefs do have a lot of offensive weapons. Right. Maybe their defense is a little suspect. Maybe their O-line is not so great, but they still have guys out there that you need to watch. You need to stop. Like Jamal Charles, obviously, they didn't stop him fully because he had 3 touchdowns tonight.
Right.
But I think, where is it? Yeah, I don't have the numbers on the run defense, but I think that is the Packers' defense Achilles' heel is they're not so great at stopping the run. So if Jamal Charles can score 3 times on you guys, then what happens when you go up against? I mean, they already played the Seahawks. I guess it's just I don't know. They're not really. They don't play the Vikings until week 11. That's probably the next.
Right.
You know,
big
powerful running back
right.
that you need to stop. Because that's what Jamal Charles is. You know, even though his team's maybe not the best, like he's still a power running back.
It'll be interesting when the Packers play the Broncos.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a good game, and it'll be right off the bye for the Packers. So if they need to make any adjustments, they'll be able to, but they'll also have not be in the momentum of winning and winning and winning.
Right.
So that'll be an interesting matchup.
Another thing that I actually found interesting and cool is that they were saying that Mike McCarthy is not afraid to play his rookies. I think he played about 4 rookies tonight, including Ty Montgomery, who scored that first touchdown, which I think is great because a lot of guys, I feel like a lot of times rookies are just, okay, we'll throw you in maybe on like the 3rd down, give you like a shot
play,
to just, one play. But he was just throwing these guys in full force on defense and offense and just, you know, trusting in them even though they're rookies. And I know that's how it should be, but it's not for a lot of places. So I thought that was interesting and pretty cool on his end. But, yeah, I don't know.
No, I thought that was cool. I mean, I feel like for me, the quarterbacks stood out a lot in this game. I mean, Aaron Rodgers was just on point. Alex Smith, again, that spin move, his mobility, his determination, like whatever they gave him, he was trying to make the best of the situation, and he was successful for the most part, I think. I mean, like, yes, he got sacked 8 times, and that's not always his fault, and it's not like he gets sacked and gives up the ball, and like he doesn't play, you know, he plays smart football. So even with what he's given. So again, I did like the quarterbacks. You don't see 2 good quarterbacks. You know, I feel like sometimes it's so unbalanced, and I feel like it was somewhat balanced with what the quarterbacks were trying to do. Of course, Aaron Rodgers was, you know, doing it a lot better, or, you know, but I feel like the way that they were playing was similar styles, I guess.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that if the Chiefs were able to offer Alex Smith a little bit more protection, it would have been a much more interesting game because already they cut that you know lead down to only 10, and they really, I mean, they should have. In my opinion, I thought they should have taken that 2-point conversion and then tried to do the onside kick to score another touchdown and a 2-point conversion instead of going for the touchdown, then trying to get the or what did they end.
No, they did go for the
they
2-point conversion. They didn't get it.
Oh, they didn't? That's what happened?
Yeah, they didn't get it. So
I was driving, so I must have missed that.
Yeah, they didn't get it, and so that was what happened. But I think that's exactly what their plan was, because then it would have made it 38-30, and then they would have had an onside kick, and they would have hopefully got, to get 8 points again. To get a touchdown,
you're right, because then it ended up being a 10-point deficit. So we have to make a mention that the Chiefs finally threw a touchdown to the wide receiver. It was 21 straight games without a receiving touchdown. Finally, Jeremy Maclin caught a touchdown to end that streak.
Jeremy Maclin is kind of amazing. Did you see that one catch? It was probably like a 30-yard play, and he was bobbling it. The amount of focus in the pouring rain when you're losing at Lambeau to catch that ball is amazing. Some of these guys, I mean, like, I know we come here and we say the bad, and we sometimes rip people apart and what we see on TV, but like these guys and what they do and how they focus, it's laser focused in conditions like that. You're cold, it's raining, you're at the opposing team stadium, you're losing, and you can make a play like that. That's insane.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it still blows me. A lot of people that maybe are not super big sports fans or football fans in general don't really appreciate how difficult some of those catches that these guys make are. I mean, obviously everyone appreciates the Odell Beckham one-hand type catches, because those are outrageous. But even Demaryius Thomas had a catch last night that I was like, damn, that was a great catch, and he held on to it and ran it in for a touchdown. So I agree with you. I think Jeremy Maclin is very talented, and it's interesting because they didn't really get him involved in the game till late in that game. Right. He wasn't doing anything, and then he exploded. He ended up with, I think, 141 yards and a touchdown or something like that. But, I think he's great, and I think the Eagles, I don't really know why. I mean, actually, I do know why Chip Kelly got rid of anyone that caused any sort of friction in the locker room, so clearly he must have. But yeah, I think he's a great, really talented guy. He's still super young, so he's got a chance to really blow up for this offense and become, I mean, I guess he probably is. He is their number one receiver.
I would think so. Yeah. And you could tell that Alex Smith was targeting him most of the time. Yeah. So I feel like he is, the guy for Alex Smith right now.
Yeah, let's see how many targets he had. He had 8 receptions for 141 yards, 11 targets. Yeah, I mean, Travis Kelce had 10 targets, 6 receptions for 80 yards. So, I mean, that's a good game in anyone's book, but not as great as his first week one what did he have? 8 receptions, or no. I don't know. They don't have it on here. But anyways, yeah.
You know what's interesting, too? I mean, I feel like, we can't go without mentioning the Chiefs' defense a little bit. Like Houston, some of those guys, And the thing that was kind of amazing for me was, I don't remember when it was. I think it was in the second quarter. And it was after a whistle. And Aaron Rodgers and Houston were looking at each other and talking and laughing. And again, it's like to show that sportsmanship, to be able to when the whistle blows, you're going and you're gunning for the other team and you want to win. But as soon as to be able to laugh and stuff, it shows a lot of character. And those are always fun little tidbits to see.
Totally. And Justin Houston had before this game 2 sacks on in the year. Right. So he in week 2 it was his 12th multi-sack game since 2012. Right. Only JJ Watt has more with 15. So, but he didn't have any sacks tonight. Right. 4 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. Sorry, my hair tickling me. But yeah, they have the Chiefs have a couple of strong defensive pieces. Yeah. Their defense isn't horrible. No,
it's only the 3rd year under their coach, so I feel like, I don't know, Andy Reid, I don't know, I feel like he's getting it together over there, and I feel like that you can't knock out the Chiefs this season. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to the Super Bowl. I'm not, betting on that right at the current moment. But I feel like there's a lot of potential with that team. And you see little pieces of the puzzle. And you're like, oh, wait, this one just needs to fit a little bit more with this one. And then, holy crap, that's going to be a good puzzle.
Yeah. So. No, I agree. I think you definitely don't want to count them out. They're not off to a great start at 1-2. But it's better than being 0-3. Who's 0-3? We have Baltimore, Detroit, Chicago, and New Orleans are still 0-3.
Yeah. New Orleans. Wow.
I know. It's actually kind of a few surprising teams, like like the Ravens. I mean, obviously Terrell Suggs was a huge loss for them.
Yeah, and who's 3-0? The Bengals.
Pats, Cincy, Denver, Green Bay, Atlanta, Carolina, and Arizona.
And Cincinnati.
Yeah, I said Cincy.
Oh, did you? Oh, you said Cincinnati.
Yeah, no, there's quite a few.
I mean, talk about a force to be reckoned with. AJ Green is insane.
I know. He's so good. I mean, there's quite a few young guys. Okay, so Julio Jones, AJ Green, Demaryius Thomas.
Yeah.
Like, these guys are
insane.
Unreal.
Yeah. It's
Unreal.
insane. I mean, it's game changing to what the game was like 10 years ago watching what some of these guys are doing.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's really entertaining to watch, though.
I know. It is. It really has become the age of the receiver. And yes, powerful backs are still very important, but you're seeing it with these guys that are having monster games.
But it's interesting because I feel like a year or 2 years ago, it was more of the Kaepernick, the RG3 quarterback, not the pocket era. Right, and I feel like that came and went really quickly. And now it's back to the long ball, big throws, stuff, that's what it went very quickly back.
Yeah, or the little short pitches and then getting
it's
in the hole.
It's either short or long. It's not the quarterback trying to,
you definitely, the mobile quarterbacks have, I think there's not as many, at least.
And maybe it's just, it's a college game that doesn't exactly translate to the NFL, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you still see Cam Newton, you still see Russell Wilson scramble all the time.
But those two quarterbacks they can pass too.
Exactly.
The ones that only have that, they're not successful.
Right. So yeah, I mean, and even Aaron Rodgers is really just the perfect example of what you want in a quarterback because he can scramble, he can get out of the pocket, keep the play alive, run if he needs to, pitch the ball off if he needs to. Or, he also has great pocket presence as well. And he can stay in the pocket, look down the field, get a pass open. So he's just he can do everything that you need, obviously, in a quarterback. I mean, he's the best one in the league. So
I'm with you on that one.
Can't really ask for much more.
No.
Next week, was there anything else about this game that you wanted to touch on? I mean,
no, I feel like
we talked
Clay
about
Matthews,
everything.
2 sacks. I mean, he's always there flexing, But I feel like, Rodgers to Cobb. I mean, it was just, there's a lot going on. There's a lot clicking.
Actually, the last thing I did want to mention, which I think is interesting with the loss or the lack of Jordy Nelson, is the Green Bay is lining up on a 3-receiver set.
Yes.
Where 2 of the receivers are the lead blockers, and then Aaron Rodgers will just throw a little quick throw to the third one. And so you really got to see, and Tirico and Gruden made a mention of it, that their receivers are great blockers.
Yes.
And it makes such a big difference.
It does.
So they were saying that Green Bay is one of the better blocking teams on the perimeter in the whole league, and you saw that. Totally.
Yeah, totally.
So I thought that was interesting, the way they lined up, and then the Chiefs lined up I think it was they lined up in a 4-receiver set where Travis Kelce, even though he's a tight end, was lining up as a receiver.
Yeah.
So interesting lineups. There weren't any ineligible receivers like the Pats try to run on everyone. Yeah.
It was interesting. Last night I saw something that I saw for the first time was on a field goal, I believe. It was 7 guys on one side. Did you see that play?
No.
The Broncos games? It was like an illegal formation because where the center of the ball is, you can't have more than 6 guys lined up on the line, and there was 7 guys lined up. So he missed the kick, and he got to kick again.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was really interesting. It's a lot of little things like that. And the refs, man, they're kind of on point. I mean, I don't know. There's maybe a little bit more flags than necessary.
Yeah, the average is 15 penalties
per game.
Or what did they say? 15 accepted penalties has been the average so far since we started.
Is that that's a higher statistic than last year?
Yes, much higher than last year.
Do you know what last year's was? I don't know.
No.
Okay.
But
yeah, it's definitely. Yeah, I feel like it's apparent.
They've changed a lot. They're trying to make the game safer. And so I get it.
I get it too. Sometimes it just doesn't translate in the plays that they're calling or the flags they're throwing. But I get it. They got their rules and they got their notes and what they need to do. I almost feel like there's a quota for flags.
Yeah.
They have to they get a bonus whoever throws the most flags. I don't know.
Maybe
more commercial time. Who knows?
Maybe.
So next week we got the Lions versus the Seahawks.
Yeah, which at the beginning of the season I thought was going to be a great matchup, and now I'm not thinking so much. The Lions are just, they're not looking good.
They're not looking good, but I feel like Stafford, and I know you love him.
I do.
He, like last night again, it's so close.
And
It's so close. It's like they beat themselves in a way.
Yeah, he has so many weapons. Obviously,
Yeah.
Megatron hasn't really done anything this season so far.
They were talking like Andrew Stafford. He's the next generation of quarterbacks. Him and his team. He should be leading his team to wins. In those situations, and he's not. So, and again, it's only the third week in. Still time for adjustments, but they need to get it together. But in the same sense, the Seahawks aren't awesome right now either. So. Maybe it will be a good game because they'll both come too. I don't know. I feel like Monday Night Football, you get that extra day in to regroup.
The only problem is that it's in Seattle. So that's the only
12th man
issue that they're going to face.
Yeah, but I feel like Detroit fans in Detroit Stadium can be pretty loud too. I mean, I get it. 12th man is 12th man. It's above and beyond any other stadium, I believe. But I don't know. I don't feel like the Lions. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting game.
Yeah.
Who are you going to pick?
I'm going with the Seahawks. I mean, I feel like you can't really count
even though
them
Beast
out at
Mode's
home.
got like a hammy injury right now. You think he'll be playing? He'll be better?
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know, though, because they always try to play it off like it's no big deal when really it could be a huge deal. So we'll see, I guess. But
that's the most interesting. Again, me being a Jets fan this weekend, we lost to the Eagles, but it was interesting because a lot of they said Chris Ivory was going to play and he didn't play at all.
Yeah.
So I wonder really sometimes if what they say of how injured people are is just part of the strategy to figure out how the other team will prepare.
Well, tonight was a perfect example because leading up to tonight, nobody had any idea if Eddie Lacy was actually going to play.
Right, and he looked not hurt at all.
Yeah,
he was. He was amazing.
He did split the carries pretty evenly with
Right.
James Starks, but I think that was just a precaution. But yeah, he looked like he was fine.
100%. Yeah, that's what
he was like diving over guys,
Totally,
like
he was going
leaping
insane.
over
Yeah.
people. I was like, okay, bro, slow down.
Yeah,
I got
you're
you on my
fine.
team. I don't
Yeah.
want you to get hurt for real.
Right.
But yeah, so all right, who are you gonna pick then, Steph?
I'll go with the Lions. Keep it interesting.
Oh,
We'll see.
okay.
All right.
Well, you're not gonna be here next week because where are you gonna be?
I am going to London to watch the Jets-Dolphins game at Wembley Stadium that is happening on my birthday this Sunday, October 4th. So you guys out there, I know you probably don't like my Jets, but just on Sunday, root for the Jets. Our game will be over before yours even starts. Well, we play at 9:30 Eastern time, 6:30 Western time. So just, before you go to bed Saturday night, just think green for me.
You know I will.
I know you will.
And I'll also be texting you happy birthday.
I love it. I love it.
Because I'll be up at 6:30 watching the game.
There it is.
Just for you.
I love it. I love it. But yeah, I'm going to go Lions. I think it's, and I'm going to go that it's going to be a good game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout.
I hope not.
I hope not.
Well, we forgot to say it in the beginning of the episode, but tell everyone where they can find you on social media.
Oh, yeah, you guys, thanks so much for watching, and you guys can find me, keep the conversation going, at IAMSTEFZ. Go Jets.
Yeah, go Jets. And you can find me on Instagram or Twitter at Tina Cap, and we will be here. Well, I will be here next week to have another Monday Night Football.
And she won't be alone, don't worry. We've
won't
got something
be.
good in store for you guys.
Oh, yeah. See you later.
Bye-bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.